spring of 1998, I was a freshman in college, and I was hanging out with some friends at a fast food place near campus. It was me and my guy friends and this group of girls that we had just met. And at some point in the meal, I shouted out a line from one of my favorite movies. And from the table beside us, someone shouted the next line back. And it was one of the girls. And so we turned, we locked eyes, we smiled at each other. And then 3 years later, we were married, and we have been ever since. Isn't the start of a new relationship so much fun? You're hanging out together with friends, you're going for bike rides in the park, you're sitting on somebody's front porch just talking for hours and hours, and everything's going great, but you're afraid of saying too much or seeming too committed because you don't want to scare the other person off. But at some point, you have to define the relationship. At some point, you have to say, what's going on? Are we friends? Are we dating? Is this common law marriage now? What is happening right now? Because whenever you enter into a relationship with someone, you actually create this new third being. It's you, it's the person, and it's your relationship. And your relationship is living and growing, and it has to be fed and nurtured and cared for. But before you can do any of that, you have to acknowledge that it exists. You have to name it. And every relationship is about that transition from me to we. Figuring out, how does this work now between two people instead of just me by myself? And it's not much different between you and your money. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, there's a relationship that exists there. There's you and there's your money and there's the connection between you. But unlike personal relationships, your relationship with money has always been we. Money has always been there with you. And so the trick is not going from me to we. The trick is actually separating yourself from your money and knowing who you are apart from it. Because money has factored into your life since before the day you were born. Money had a hand in deciding when you were born, where you were born. Money had a hand in deciding how you were cared for as an infant. And so it's not about identifying the relationship that exists there. It's about figuring out who you are apart from it. And that's some really hard work to do because money is everywhere. It's in everything. It's like the air we breathe. Wherever you're sitting right now costs money to build. Whatever you're wearing right now costs money to make. The food you ate this morning, the coffee you drank this afternoon costs money for someone, somewhere. If you're in an even remotely civilized place right now, everything that you can see costs money on some level. And because money is everywhere, and because it's in everything, and because it's like the air that we breathe, money is at the heart of who we are as people. I've heard it said that money is neutral. It's amoral. It's neither positive nor negative. It's neither good nor evil. And on one level, I think that's true. Money is a tool to get the things that you want. But on another level, I think we all know that it's not the entire story. Did you know that every major religion in the world teaches extensively on how we should approach money? And while there's a lot of nuance and a lot of layers to what they say, basically every major religion in the world arrives at the same conclusion. You should not allow yourself to be controlled and dominated by your money. And so you can see how hard it is to actually separate who you are from how much money you have. But it's still a question worth asking. It's still worth exploring to find out, who am I apart from my money? Story of a man who came to Jesus with a question. And all the storytellers talk about the man in a little bit of a different way. Some say he was young, some say he was a ruler of some kind, but they all say he was rich. And so this rich man came to Jesus to ask him, what must I do to have eternal life? And Jesus answered him probably the way he expected. He said, you know the commandments. Don't steal, don't kill, don't lie. And the man said, yeah. I've done all those since I was a kid. What else am I supposed to do? And they all say that Jesus looked intently at him and said, if you really want to find life, then sell everything you have, give to the poor, and then come along with me. This is one of the reasons that Jesus was such an amazing storyteller, an amazing teacher, because he had this way of when people would come to him with a question, he wouldn't just give them an answer, but he would give them a better question to ask. And so this guy was asking about eternal life, but you notice that in Jesus' response, he didn't say the word eternal. He said, if you really want to find life, if you want to have what you're looking for, you can actually have it here and now. You don't have to wait until after you're dead and gone to finally be at peace and to finally be content and to finally find joy. You can have it now. And the way you're going about finding it now is all wrong. You're trying to do it with your wealth. Get rid of it. Come find a better way. Come find a better path. And all the storytellers end the story the same way. They say the man went away sad because he had great wealth. Now, I don't think we should be too hard on the rich young man because we're really no different. We all fall into this trap of believing that my contentment and my peace and my joy is somewhere down the road. That my ability to be satisfied with my life isn't going to come until I've made enough money, or until I've gotten the right job, or until my kid is out of that phase, or until I'm in that dream house that I've always wanted. We believe that peace and joy and contentment are down there. But the reality is, what you're looking for is right here, right now. It depends on which path you're choosing. Because you could choose the path that starts with accumulating things, building up wealth, and acquiring status and success. And when you start down that path, you naturally assume that joy and contentment and peace will be byproducts of all of your money and success. But that's a big lie. Because the path you ought to start down is the path that pursues contentment and joy and peace first. And then let all of your success, all of your wealth become a byproduct of what you already have inside you. And so maybe it's about asking a better question. Maybe instead of asking the question, how much do I want to make? Or what career do I want to have? Maybe you start with a question more like, who do I want to be? Who am I trying to become? And in pursuing that answer, you'll find everything you are looking for.